Hi guys, it's Brooke and Pippa, and we're here to talk about how we got started living on the road. I know that's a lot of people's questions. Why do you do this? How did you start? Right, Pip? Do we get to ask that question all the time? Yeah, we do. We go live on TikTok a lot if you want to see live streams. We go live over on our TikTok page all the time, but that's one of the most common questions I get is, how did you do this? Why do you do this? How did you get started? And it's a long but simple answer. Back in 2017, 2018, I'll just start right from the beginning. Actually, even before that, I have always traveled. As a kid, my dad worked in LA. We lived in Pittsburgh. And so when he would go on business trips and things like that, sometimes he would take us with. And it kind of started up in college. I studied abroad, kind of really awakened my travel bug as an adult. I did lots of road trips back and forth between Indiana and Nashville when I lived there because I went to Purdue. So a lot of my friends were still in Indiana when I was living in Nashville. So I would do that little mini road trip back and forth all the time. And I was just kind of always in the car. I was kind of always traveling. So when I moved back to Indiana, 2017, 2018, I started watching a lot of Katie Carney. And so if, you know who that is, I started watching a lot of her videos, and she lives out of a smaller vehicle. I can't remember if it's a Prius or something. Maybe it's a Yaris, I want to say. I'm not sure exactly if she still lives out of the car, but anyways, that's who I started watching. And the also the channel Primal Outdoors, and he still lives, I think, in a van now, but he was in his car, and he would do like the over cab, like tent camping. And so I watched a lot of them, and I got really into trying to camp again. So that was when I had a Mazda CX5, so like a smaller Mazda SUV, and I outfitted it out, and I put little covers over the windows so Pippa and I could sleep in the back. And because I didn't feel comfortable sleeping in a tent, I obviously am not as I wasn't as confident then as I am now. And we would do little weekend trips to a state park that was about an hour away from my apartment, and we would just go camp there, and we'd sleep in the back, just kind of how we do now. We would just set up a little air mattress and camp back there, make fires and do all this stuff. And it was a really fun time. And so I started to get a little more confident with it. So when we would go on road trips, I started to stay overnight at rest stops, sleeping in the back of the car, things like that. So I started really slow. I think people forget that, like, when you want to go do something, you don't have to go move into your car the next day and be full time. Like, you can practice at campgrounds and do whatever feels comfortable to you. So I did all of that from 2018 probably all the way through the end of 2019. And at the end of 2019, I looked back and realized that I had traveled 11 out of the 12 months that, you know, make up 2019. And I was like, this is kind of silly. I wish I could travel more. And I was a hairstylist at the time, and I owned my own business. And I figured, why not get my clients on a 3-month rotation? And so I could take 3 months worth of clients, and then take 3 months to travel, and then take 3 months worth of clients and take 3 months to travel, and do like that kind of cycle. And so I was setting myself up to start to be able to do that. And of course, when was that 3-month cycle going to be? March of 2020. So unfortunately, what happened was my salon got shut down, just like everybody else's in the whole country. And I just said, screw it. I don't want to wait then. And I closed my business permanently. I bought a 1991 Toyota RV, a little Winnebago on a Toyota chassis, and just, it was like 21 feet. It was cute. I renovated it during the pandemic. We got on the road last August, and it was a nightmare. I was not meant for RV life. There was a lot of moving parts, a lot of things going on. My very amateur renovation, you know, things weren't working properly. I didn't have enough money to be on the road. I ran out of money pretty quickly. Things got hairy really fast, and it was just kind of one of those moments. I loved the travel aspect, but I didn't like how much upkeep and cost was involved with the RV. So I decided to start putting feelers out to potentially sell the RV, to move into something smaller like a van or something like that. And as I was talking with a couple of potential buyers, we went to stay at an RV park to meet with one of them, to plug in the RV to show how everything worked and to just like have a neutral meeting place. And the night that I pulled into that RV park, Pippa got attacked by another dog and ended up at the emergency vet all night. I had to go get stitches in my hand because I got bit as well. I can tell that story in another video. And so I had to tell them basically like, hey, if you're gonna come out here, I need you to get the RV. My dog just got attacked. I need money for the medical bills. I am gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do. So basically they got that RV for a steal, and I moved into a rental place, got Pippa taken care of the way she needed to, and I bought Sheila. I bought this car, and that's the car I used while I was living in Scottsdale, and we let Pippa recover for about 5 months, and she's great. I was great. I found a job that I could work remote. I hated that job and then started another business, and I talk about that. I'll put it up in one of the little card things. I can work in the car, and it's much more flexible, especially on the road. So we got kind of all of the things that were going wrong in the RV ticked off. And so I was like, why don't I try one more time? And let's just do it in the car and either stay in Airbnbs or get a tent or something like that. And it turned out I just loved being in the car. There was almost no maintenance to it. It was so much easier. So if you watch some of my older videos, especially like the moving into my CRV video, that's when I made my first setup in the back. My bed used to take up the whole back area, and over time we've kind of tweaked it, and now we've been on the road for 6 months in this car, and it's been the least stressed out that I've been. It's been so much easier. I do miss some of the space of the RV, but for right now, this has been the perfect middle ground for us. We can drive the speed limit. Gas is, you know, not as expensive. We can fit into any spots. I can, you know, kind of pop in and out to town. I don't have so many things to put away every time we want to move the car, everything like that. So that's kind of how we got started. It's always been a dream of mine to get on the road and to live full time on the road. And we just had the opportunity in 2020, and I took it. And even though it wasn't maybe the right form of travel for us, I'm glad we found the right form. Pippa's so relaxed in the car. I know I get a lot of comments about it being bad for Pippa. Pippa needs more space. Pippa needs a yard and a bed and all this stuff. And like, people forget too that we camp mostly out in national forests, so Pippa gets the whole forest to herself. And a lot of the times, I mean, Pippa's 9. She likes to sleep in my bed and just hang out while I'm working anyways. And I am so grateful that I can work from the car. I don't have to leave her. So this is the perfect balance for us. We've been toying with the idea of possibly getting a bus or a bigger vehicle just as an upgrade, maybe in the spring after we've been on the road in this car for a year. I really want to do a year in Sheila, you know, really give her like a good try. And maybe that's something we'll do in the future, but I can't see myself stopping traveling right now. I've always planned to stay on the road as long as it makes me happy, and it's still making me really happy right now. So that's kind of a little bit of our story, and I don't know, I hope that helps. I just tell everybody, especially when they ask on my live streams and things like that, like, oh, I wish I could do this, but I would be so scared, or I wish I could do this, but I don't have, you know, the time right now, or I still work a regular job. And I just want to kindly remind everybody, you don't have to be full-time. Like, you can just go on the weekends or go on your days off, or do that as your vacation, and practice. Practice helps a ton. So I hope that answered that question for you guys, and Pippa and I will see you soon. Bye.